Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting topics for coin collectors and treasure hunters. We'll break down what makes these coins so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1944 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the most recognizable coins in American history and carries a story that connects directly to the World War II. This coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark on pennies at that time. Your coin, in fine condition with some scratches and a natural color shade from aging, is not only a piece of copper, it's a small part of a much larger American story of strength, change, and renewal. Because your coin is in fine condition, the overall detail remains visible but shows moderate wear from years of circulation. The scratches and color shade add character to the piece, reflecting its long history and everyday transactions. The coin's tone may have shifted from bright red when first minted to a warm brown or reddish-brown shade, a natural patina that collectors often appreciate, because it gives the coin a more authentic vintage appearance. Turning to the reverse side, you can see the well-known wheat ears design, which gives the Lincoln cent its popular nickname, Wheat Penny. Two stylized stalks of wheat curve gracefully along both sides of the coin, surrounding the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. The Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one appears at the top. The wheat ears on your coin are slightly worn down, but their outlines are still distinct, and the lettering remains clear. This reverse design, simple yet symbolic, represents American prosperity and growth during an era when the nation was rebuilding after years of global conflict. The year 1944 was an important one in U.S. coinage history. Just a year earlier, in 1943, the U.S. Mint had temporarily switched from copper to zinc-coated steel to conserve copper for wartime production. Those 1943 steel cents are famous today for their silvery look and tendency to rust. In 1944, the Mint returned to the traditional copper alloy, but with a twist. Much of the copper used to make 1944 pennies came from recycled shell casings that were collected after the war. This gave these coins a patriotic connection, as they were literally made from materials that once served in the nation's defense. That makes every 1944 Lincoln cent a piece of living history, a symbol of victory, resilience, and the return of peace. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.4 billion of these coins in 1944, making it one of the largest mintage totals in the entire Lincoln Wheat Penny series. Because of this high number, the 1944 penny is not rare, but it remains one of the most historically meaningful coins to collectors. Millions of these cents circulated across the country during and after World War II, and they became a familiar sight in the hands of soldiers, factory workers, and families adjusting to post-war life. When it comes to the value of your coin in today's market, condition is the most important factor. A good condition example might bring around 5 to 10 cents, while coins in fine condition, like yours, are typically worth between 15 and 25 cents. In very fine condition, values increase to about 30 to 35 cents, and in extra fine condition, the coin might sell for around 40 to 75 cents. If a coin is in uncirculated condition with bright red color and minimal marks, collectors may pay anywhere from $1 to $5 or more, depending on its eye appeal. Your coin's fine condition, combined with its natural brown or red-brown color shade, gives it a modest but appealing collector value. The small scratches from circulation are normal for a coin that's been around for over 80 years. These marks tell part of its story. Story that began during a time of global change and continues to this day in collections like yours. The 1944 wheat penny is often considered a coin of transition and hope. It marks the end of the wartime steel cents and the return of the familiar copper composition that Americans were used to. Every 1944 penny that survives today reminds us of that turning point, when the world was healing and rebuilding, and when simple things like coins symbolized stability and normalcy once again. Your 1944 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, in fine condition with some scratches and a natural color shade, is valued at around 15 to 25 cents in today's market. While its monetary value is modest, its emotional and historical worth is far greater. It connects you directly to a time when the nation stood united, when resources were scarce but hope was strong, and when even a small copper penny played its part in the story of America. First up, the 1965 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark is a coin that tells the story of a unique period in United States coinage history. It may look ordinary at first glance, but this coin represents a time of great change at the U.S. Mint, when America was facing a nationwide coin shortage and important adjustments were made to how coins were produced. In 1965, the U.S. Mint decided to remove mint marks from all circulating coins. That means the 1965 Jefferson nickel, like yours, shows no mint mark at all, even though many were struck at multiple mint facilities. This was done to discourage coin hoarding and to make it harder for people to collect coins by mint location during the shortage. So, your coin without a mint mark isn't an error. It's a normal and intentional part of the Mint's plan during that time. On the obverse of the coin is the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. His profile faces left, surrounded by the words, "In God We Trust Liberty," and the year 1965. The reverse features the beautiful image of Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia, with the inscriptions E pluribus unum Monticello 5 cents and United States of America. You mentioned that your coin has a black color shade and is in fine condition with some scratches. The black or dark tone usually appears from years of circulation and exposure to moisture, air, or chemicals. This kind of dark toning or oxidation can form naturally over time, especially when a coin is stored in less than ideal conditions. It doesn't make the coin rare, but it does give it an aged, historical appearance that shows its journey through many hands. In fine condition, a 1965 Jefferson nickel still shows most of the major design details. You can clearly see Jefferson's face and Monticello's outline, but much of the finer detail is worn. Small scratches from handling are also typical for coins that have been in circulation for several decades. When it comes to market value, the 1965 Jefferson nickel, without mint mark, in fine condition, even with some scratches and dark toning, is generally worth 5 to 15 cents. While it's not a rare coin, collectors often enjoy keeping these 1960s nickels because they represent a special moment in U.S. mint history. Coins in better condition, such as extremely fine, about uncirculated, or mint state, can sell for $1 to $5, and examples with sharp details or unique toning may bring a small premium. If you ever find a 1965 Jefferson nickel that appears extra bright or has a sharp, mirror-like surface, it could be from a special mint set. These sets were made between 1965 and 1967 to replace proof coins, and the nickels in them often have higher quality strikes and better luster. A 1965 SMS nickel in high grade can be worth $5 to $20 or more, depending on the condition. While your coin is not rare, its black color shade and wear marks tell a story of time and circulation. Every mark and change in color reflects decades of use in American commerce. A coin that likely passed through countless hands since the 1960s. It's a small piece of everyday history, and that's what makes collecting coins like this so interesting. Even a common Jefferson nickel can spark curiosity about how coins were made, how they've aged, and the changes that shaped U.S. currency during the 20th century. In today's market, a 1965 Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel without mint mark. In fine condition with some scratches and dark toning, is valued between 5 and 15 cents, while high-grade or special mint set examples can reach $450 to $500. Next up, the 1952 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with an S mint mark is a fascinating coin from the post-World War II era, carrying with it both history and charm. This coin was minted at the San Francisco Mint, which is represented by the small letter S, located just below the date on the obverse side. Your coin, in good condition with some scratches, may show signs of wear from decades of circulation, but it still holds significant collectible and historical value for anyone who appreciates classic American coinage. The reverse side of the coin features the classic wheat ears design, a style that collectors have long admired. Two curved stalks of wheat rise on either side, framing the bold inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. At the top of the coin is the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. On your coin, which is in good condition, the design details are worn but still visible, and the main lettering stands out clearly. The wheat stalks may have lost some of their fine lines due to circulation, but their shape remains distinct, reflecting the durable craftsmanship of mid-20th century coin production. The 1952 S. Lincoln wheat penny was struck during a time of stability and growth in America. The war years had passed, the economy was booming, and the country was entering a new age of prosperity. The San Francisco Mint produced 137,804 coins that year, which means this penny is not considered rare. However, it is still highly collectible, especially for those assembling complete Lincoln cent sets that include all mints and dates. Each coin from this period tells part of the story of an America that was changing rapidly. From industrial expansion to the rise of modern suburban life. Your coin, made of the standard copper alloy, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, has likely developed a warm brown color tone from age. This natural patina is common and actually adds to its vintage appearance. The scratches on your coin are expected for one in good condition, but they do not take away from its collectible charm. Instead, they serve as a reminder that this coin was part of real American history, used by countless people in daily life, perhaps to buy a loaf of bread, a newspaper, or a cup of coffee in the 1950s. When it comes to the value of your 1952 S. Lincoln wheat penny in today's coin market, condition plays a major role. Coins in good condition typically sell for about 5 to 10 cents, while those in fine condition may reach 15 to 25 cents. In very fine condition, the value can go up to around 30 to 40 cents, and extra fine examples might be worth 50 cents to $1. Coins in uncirculated condition, with original red luster and no signs of wear, can bring $2 to $5 or more, depending on their eye appeal and surface quality. Although the 1952 S penny is common, collectors often look for examples with strong color and sharp details, which can make a noticeable difference in value. The San Francisco minted wheat pennies have a certain charm of their own. They are known for their quality striking and rich copper tones, which often give them a distinctive look compared to those minted in Philadelphia or Denver. Your 1952 S penny, despite its wear, represents that same tradition of careful craftsmanship. It's also part of the final years of the wheat penny design, as just a few years later, in 1959, the reverse design changed to the Lincoln Memorial, marking the end of the wheat era that had lasted for 50 years. Your coin, therefore, stands as one of the last true Lincoln wheat cents, a symbol of a classic American design that connected generations of coin collectors and everyday citizens alike. Even in good condition, its historical significance makes it worth keeping as part of any collection. It may not hold great monetary value, but it holds great sentimental and cultural worth. A little copper piece that witnessed the passage of time from the early 1950s to the present day. So, in today's market, your 1952 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with S mint mark, in good condition with some scratches, generally holds a value between 5 and 10 cents. While its price may be small, its story is vast, a story of American history, progress, and tradition. Every scratch and mark tells of the countless hands it passed through and the years it survived, remaining a tribute to both the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln himself. Next up, the 1979 Jefferson nickel with the D Mint mark is another interesting and collectible coin from America's long-running Monticello series. It was struck at the Denver Mint, which is represented by the small D Mint mark located to the right of the Monticello building on the reverse side. Even though this coin is not considered rare, it remains a favorite among collectors because it reflects the craftsmanship and tradition of American coinage in the late 1970s. The Jefferson nickel design, first introduced in 1938, was created by sculptor Felix Schlag. The obverse features a bold portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, while the reverse showcases Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. This design continued for decades with only small adjustments, making it one of the longest-running and most recognizable coin designs in U.S. history. By 1979, the U.S. Mint had mastered large-scale nickel production, and the Denver facility struck over 325 million Jefferson nickels that year. Because of this high mintage, the 1979 D nickel is a common coin in circulation today. However, not all examples have survived in good shape, so a coin in very fine condition, like yours, still represents a quality find. A coin graded as very fine shows clear details on Jefferson's face and Monticello, though with moderate wear on the high points. The steps of Monticello may be partially worn, but most major features remain visible. Some scratches and small marks are completely normal for coins that have circulated for more than 40 years. Your coin also shows the marks of timelight scratches and signs of handling, but these add to its story. It may have passed through stores, gas stations, or countless hands over the decades, carrying with it a small piece of American daily life. Now let's talk about its value in today's market. A 1979 D Jefferson nickel in very fine condition with some scratches is typically worth around 10 to 25 cents. While it's not a rare coin, collectors value well-preserved examples for completing their date and mint collections. If your coin were in higher condition, for example, extra fine, about uncirculated, or mint state, the value could increase to $1 to $5, depending on eye appeal and luster. The real collector value for this coin comes from special strikes known as full steps nickels. These are coins where the steps on Monticello are fully visible and sharply struck. Because most 1979 D nickels were made quickly for circulation, full-step examples are much scarcer and can bring strong prices when graded by PCGS or NGC. Certified mint state full-step coins can sell for $50 to over $150, depending on their grade and quality. Collectors also check for errors or die varieties, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or doubling. While none are widely famous for the 1979 D issue, occasional errors can increase a coin's value. Even a minor striking error could make a common coin like this more interesting and desirable. While your 1979 D nickel might not be a rare treasure, it still represents over 4 decades of American coinage history. It's a coin that has survived from a time before digital payments and plastic cards, when coins were an essential part of daily life. Each scratch, mark, and trace of wear tells part of that story. Many collectors love finding and saving these older Jefferson nickels because they connect us to the past and show how even common coins can hold beauty and history. In today's collector market, a 1979 Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel with D mint mark in very fine condition is valued between 10 and 25 cents. while high-grade, full-step, or certified examples can reach $50 to $150 or more. Even though it's not a rare date, it remains an important piece of the Jefferson nickel series, a symbol of America's enduring coinage tradition, and a reminder of how every coin, no matter its condition, has a story to tell. Next up, the 1935 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the classic coins from the early 20th century, representing a time when the United States was slowly recovering from the Great Depression. This coin was minted in Philadelphia, which is why it does not carry any mint mark beneath the date. Your coin, described as being in very fine condition with some scratches, still holds a strong appeal for collectors due to its age, historical background, and the timeless design that has made the Lincoln cent one of the most collected coins in the world. Turning to the reverse side, you'll see the classic wheat ears design, which gives this coin its nickname, the wheat penny. Two sheaves of wheat curve along the left and right edges of the coin, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. At the top is the traditional motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. On your coin, in very fine condition, the wheat stalks still show strong details, with some of the inner lines visible though slightly worn from circulation. The lettering remains bold and clear, and the overall appearance of the reverse is attractive, despite some light scratches, which are common for a coin that has circulated for nearly a century. In 1935, the Philadelphia Mint produced 388,000 Lincoln wheat pennies, making it one of the more common dates in the series. Because of this large mintage, most 1935 pennies are not considered rare, but their collectible value depends heavily on their condition and color. Your coin, being in very fine condition, falls into a desirable mid-grade category that appeals to many collectors looking for well-preserved examples that still show strong design details. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which gives it the classic reddish-brown color that deepens with age. Over the years, this copper alloy tends to darken, developing a warm brown or reddish tone, often referred to by collectors as chocolate brown. Your coin's slight scratches are typical signs of wear from decades of use, possibly passing through countless hands in the 1930s and 1940s, a period when a single cent still had real buying power. In the 1930s, a penny could purchase small candies, newspapers, or even contribute to saving for household essentials. Holding this coin is like holding a tiny piece of history, a symbol of American perseverance during the Great Depression, when every coin mattered and nothing went to waste. When it comes to value, the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark remains affordable but collectible. In good condition, it's generally valued around 5 to 10 cents. In fine condition, it can bring 15 to 25 cents. And in very fine condition like yours, the value typically ranges between 30 and 50 cents in today's coin market. Coins that have retained more of their original red luster or are in extra fine or uncirculated condition can be worth $1 to $3 or more, depending on eye appeal and color. Proof-like or fully red specimens graded by professional services can even reach higher prices among collectors seeking premium examples. Even though your 1935 wheat penny is not rare, its very fine condition gives it more appeal than the typical circulated examples. Collectors appreciate coins like this because they display the design's beauty and detail without the heavy wear seen in lower grades. Each mark and scratch on the surface tells a story of its journey through nearly 9 decades of American life. From the days of Roosevelt's New Deal to the modern digital age, the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny also represents one of the later coins before major design and alloy changes began affecting U.S. coinage in the 1940s. Its full copper composition, solid weight, and rich tone remind us of a time when coins were made to last. tangible, sturdy symbols of value and trust. So, in today's market, your 1935 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, in very fine condition with some scratches, is typically valued around $0.30 to $0.50, though a particularly eye-catching example could approach $1. While it may not be worth a fortune, its sentimental and historical worth far outweighs its face value. Every collector knows that coins like this are more than just metal. They're living reminders of America's economic past and cultural endurance. Next up, the 1962 Jefferson nickel with the D-mint mark is one of the interesting coins from the early 1960s that continues to attract collectors today. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin carries the small letter D on the reverse side, just to the right of the Monticello building. It belongs to the long-running Monticello nickel series, which started in 1938 and has become one of America's most familiar coins in circulation. Designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel was created to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the author of the Declaration of Independence. The obverse of the coin shows Jefferson's portrait facing left, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust Liberty," and the date, 1962. On the reverse side, we see a detailed image of Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia, along with the words E pluribus unum, United States of America, and 5 cents. The 1962 D Jefferson nickel was produced in very large numbers. More than 280 million coins were struck at the Denver Mint. Because of this high mintage, most examples are common, but well-preserved coins are still appreciated by collectors, especially those who want to complete their full Jefferson nickel date and mint mark collections. A coin in fine condition, like yours, means it has seen moderate wear from circulation. The details on Jefferson's hair and face are visible but slightly smooth, and the Monticello building on the back shows some flattening, especially on the steps and dome area. Small scratches or marks are completely normal for a coin that has been used in daily transactions for decades. Your coin also shows a bit of surface wear and scratches, which gives it a vintage appearance and tells the story of a coin that has traveled through American history, passed through countless hands, exchanged in shops, and carried in pockets since the early 1960s. Now let's talk about its current market value. In today's collector market, a 1962 D Jefferson nickel in fine condition with some scratches is generally worth around 10 to 20 cents. While this may seem modest, it's still above face value and shows that older coins are always worth checking carefully. If the same coin were found in a higher grade, such as extra fine, about uncirculated or mint state, its value could rise to around $1 to $3, depending on luster and overall eye appeal. However, the most valuable examples of the 1962 D Jefferson nickel are those with the full steps designation, meaning that all 6 steps on Monticello are fully visible and sharply struck. These are rare because most dies used for striking nickels in that period were worn or weak, which caused the step details to fade. Certified full steps examples graded by PCGS or NGC can reach prices of $50 to over $200 depending on the sharpness and condition. Collectors also pay close attention to errors and varieties. Some 1962 D nickels show small die cracks, off-center strikes, or doubled features on the lettering or design. While these are not extremely common, any such error can make a regular nickel much more valuable, especially when confirmed by a professional grading service. Even though your coin is not rare, it still holds historical charm. The early 1960s marked an important time in U.S. history. The space race, the rise of modern America, and the last few years before major changes in coin compositions during the mid-1960s. Your 1962 D Jefferson nickel is a small but authentic piece of that era. Collectors appreciate these coins for their endurance and classic design. They remind us how coins from everyday circulation can become pieces of history worth preserving. In today's market, a 1962 Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel with D mint mark, in fine condition with some scratches, is valued between 10 and 20 cents, while high-grade mint state or full steps examples can sell for $50 to $200 or more. Next up, the 1944 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark is one of the most recognized and widely collected coins in American history. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why there is no mint mark below the date. Your coin, described as being in dirty condition with some scratches, still represents a fascinating piece of history from the World War II era, a time when every cent truly mattered in the United States economy. Flipping to the reverse side, we see the well-known wheat ears design, which gives the Lincoln cent its popular nickname, the wheat penny. Two stalks of wheat frame the center, where the denomination 1 cent and United States of America are boldly struck. Above them sits the national motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. Even with the coin being dirty and having some scratches, most of the design elements remain identifiable. And the classic wheat pattern still adds beauty and depth to this historic piece. The 1944 Lincoln penny is especially interesting because it was minted right in the middle of World War II. During the war years, copper was a critical metal used for ammunition and military equipment. In 1943, to save copper for the war effort, the U.S. Mint temporarily struck pennies from zinc-coated steel. However, in 1944, the Mint returned to using a copper-based alloy, made mostly from recycled shell casings collected from battlefields. So, your 1944 penny was literally made from materials that once served in the war, a remarkable connection to American history. The composition of the 1944 penny is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a rich reddish-brown tone when new. Over time, this copper tone tends to darken and may develop a natural patina, especially if the coin has been exposed to moisture or dirt, which explains the dirty condition of your coin. Despite that, collectors often appreciate such natural aging because it reflects the coin's journey through history. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 1,400 tin in $35,400,000 Lincoln pennies in 1944, over 1.4 billion coins, making it one of the highest mintages of the entire wheat penny series. Because of this large production, the 1944 penny without a mint mark is not rare, but its condition, color, and any unique features can influence its value. In good condition, a 1944 no mint mark penny typically has a value of around 5 to 10 cents. In fine condition, it might be worth around 15 to 25 cents, while examples in very fine to extremely fine condition can sell for 30 to 75 cents. In uncirculated condition, these coins can bring anywhere from $1 to $3 or more, especially if they retain original red luster. Your coin, described as being dirty with some scratches, would likely fall toward the lower end of this range, around 5 to 15 cents in today's collector market. However, there are rare error varieties from 1944 that are worth far more. For instance, the 1944 steel penny, which was accidentally struck on leftover 1943 steel planchets, can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. Another rare error is the 1944 D/S, DS, mint mark variety found on some Denver minted coins, which can also bring significant value. While your coin doesn't appear to be one of these rare varieties, every 1944 penny still carries great historical significance. Even though your 1944 penny may show dirt and scratches, its age and story make it a treasured collectible. Think of it this way. This coin has circulated for over 80 years, possibly passing through countless hands during and after World War II. It may have been used to buy bread, newspapers, or coffee in the 1940s, or perhaps saved by a family as part of their wartime budget. The marks and discoloration on its surface are part of its journey through America's economic and social history. The 1944 wheat penny symbolizes America's resilience and recovery during wartime, and its return to a copper composition reflects the nation's progress after resource shortages. Every detail of this coin, from Lincoln's solemn portrait to the wheat stalks, serves as a reminder of the strength, unity, and endurance that defined that era. Next up, the 1949 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark is a beautiful and collectible piece of mid-20th century American coinage. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin carries the small D on the reverse side to the right of the Monticello building. It's part of the long-running Monticello nickel series that began in 1938 and continues to this day, making it one of the most iconic designs in United States coin history. The Jefferson nickel was designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose design was selected after a national competition. The obverse shows a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, while the reverse features his Virginia home, Monticello, with the inscriptions, "A pluribus unum united States of America and 5 cents." By 1949, America had fully recovered from World War II, and the Jefferson nickel had returned to its regular copper-nickel composition after the wartime silver issues. The Denver Mint produced over 36 million nickels that year, making the 1949 D issue fairly common. However, the condition of surviving coins varies greatly, and well-preserved pieces like yours in extra fine condition are always appreciated by collectors. In extra fine condition, your coin still shows clear and strong details. Jefferson's hair, face, and collar are visible with light wear only on the highest points. On the reverse, Monticello retains much of its structure, and you can still see a good amount of detail in the steps and columns, though they may be slightly smooth. The coin also has some scratches and marks, which is normal for a circulated piece that's been around for more than 70 years. Those small scratches tell a story of a coin that has traveled through generations, perhaps used in stores, gas stations, or even tucked away in a collection for decades. Coins like this carry more than just metal value. They carry history. Now let's look at its market value in today's collector world. A 1949 D. Jefferson nickel in extra fine condition typically sells for around $0.50 to $1. While it's not a rare or high-value coin, it's still a nice early-date nickel that adds depth to any Jefferson nickel collection. If the same coin were found in higher grades, such as about uncirculated or mint state, the value could rise to $3 to $10. In certified mint state grades with full steps, meaning all the steps of Monticello are completely visible and sharply struck, the value can increase significantly. Collectors highly prize the full steps designation because it's rare for coins from this time period to have sharp details. A 1949 D full steps. Jefferson nickel graded by PCGS or NGC can sell for $50 to over $150s, depending on the strike quality and condition. There are also a few minor varieties and errors known for this year, including weak strikes, die cracks, and off-center strikes. While not common, such errors can increase the value for collectors looking for something unusual. Your coin, even with some scratches and dirt, still stands as a fine example of post-war American coinage. The 1949 D issue represents a time of peace and growth in America, when coins like this were used daily in an economy that was booming after the hardships of the war. Collectors appreciate coins from this era not just for their design, but for what they represent, a connection to the everyday life and spirit of the late 1940s. In today's market, a 1949 Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel with D mint mark in extra fine condition with some scratches is valued between 50 cents and $1, while higher-grade mint state examples can sell from $5 to $10, and certified full steps coins can bring $50 to over $150. Even though it's not an extremely rare coin, it remains a meaningful and collectible piece of American history. It's part of the classic Jefferson nickel series that has stood the test of time for nearly a century. Every coin has a story, and your 1949D Jefferson nickel tells one of endurance and value, a coin that has lasted through generations and continues to be admired by collectors today. Next up, the 1957 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny with a D mint mark is one of the last coins ever made in the beloved wheat cent series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. Your coin, minted in Denver, carries the small D mint mark just below the date on the front side, indicating it came from the Denver Mint. Even though your coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches, it still represents a charming piece of mid-20th century American coinage and holds great nostalgic and historical value among collectors. The year 1957 marked one of the final years for the wheat design before the U.S. Mint switched to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959 in honor of the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The 1957 D issue is particularly well known because it was among the most heavily produced of the entire wheat cent series. The Denver Mint struck an astonishing 342,000 pennies that year, over 1 billion coins. Because of this massive mintage, the 1957 D penny is not considered rare, but collectors still value it for its beauty, nostalgia, and connection to one of America's most iconic coin designs. The coin is made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it that warm reddish-brown tone typical of older pennies. Over time, this copper surface naturally oxidizes, darkening into shades of brown or even deep chocolate color. Your coin's fine condition suggests moderate wear, with most major design elements visible, but some minor loss of sharpness in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalk details. The small scratches and light surface dirt are completely normal for a circulated coin of this age. Even though the 1957 D penny is common, many collectors seek out nice examples to complete their Lincoln Wheat Cent albums. These coins are especially popular among beginners because they're affordable, yet historically meaningful. The 1957 D marks the end of an era, the last full year before the wheat design disappeared, which gives it sentimental appeal despite its modest value. In terms of today's market value, condition plays the biggest role. In good condition, this coin is typically worth around 3 to 5 cents. In fine condition like yours, the value generally ranges from 5 to 10 cents, depending on eye appeal. Coins in very fine or extra fine condition might sell for 10 to 20 cents, while uncirculated examples, those showing full luster and no wear, can be worth anywhere from 50 cents to $2 or more, especially if they retain strong original red color. Professionally graded MS-65 red examples can sometimes bring prices between $5 and $15 among serious collectors. While your coin has some scratches and wear from circulation, it still holds historical charm. Imagine the journey this penny has taken since leaving the Denver Mint in 1957. Perhaps spent on candy, newspapers, or a soda in the late 1950s, then circulating through the hands of countless Americans as the nation entered the space age. It might have even been saved in someone's jar of wheat pennies during the 1960s and rediscovered decades later. Each mark on the surface represents part of its life story. The 1957 D Lincoln Wheat penny also carries deep symbolic meaning. It's a tribute to Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, who led the nation through the Civil War and preserved the Union. Brenner's design captures Lincoln's strength and humility, qualities that continue to inspire Americans today. Though small in size, the coin serves as a lasting reminder of the country's values of unity, perseverance, and hard work. So, in today's coin market, your 1957 D Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny, in fine condition with some scratches, is typically valued between $0.5 and $0.20, While its monetary value is modest, its sentimental and historical significance make it far more valuable to collectors and history lovers. Every wheat penny tells a story. And yours, with its Denver mint mark and well-traveled surfaces, is a real piece of mid-century American life, still shining with quiet dignity nearly 70 years after it was made. Next up, the 1942 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark is a very interesting and historic coin, especially because it was made during a time of great change in the United States Mint. This coin comes from the early years of the Monticello nickel series, which began in 1938, and it represents one of the key transition years when the composition of the Jefferson nickel changed due to World War II. Now, what makes the 1942 issue special is that there were actually two different types of nickels made that year. Early in 1942, the Mint continued producing nickels in the regular copper-nickel alloy. These coins were struck in Philadelphia and Denver, without the large wartime mint marks. Later that same year, as the U.S. entered deeper into World War II, nickel metal was needed for the war effort, so the Mint changed the composition to a silver alloy, known as the wartime silver nickel. Those silver nickels have large mint marks above the Monticello dome. Your coin, the 1942 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, belongs to the early copper-nickel type, meaning it does not contain silver. It was struck at the Philadelphia Mint before the transition to the wartime alloy. In total, around 64 million of these 1942 no-mint mark nickels were produced, making it a common issue, but still collectible because it marks that important change in U.S. coin history. Your coin is in dirty condition with some scratches, which is normal for a coin that has been in circulation for over 80 years. Dirt, surface marks, and wear show its long life in American commerce, from the 1940s, war years, through generations of use. Even though it's not in perfect shape, it still holds value as a historical collectible. In terms of grade, your coin seems to fall into the good to fine range. The main details of Jefferson's portrait are still visible, and Monticello can still be identified, though the finer features like hair details and steps may be worn smooth. Now let's talk about its current value in today's market. A 1942 Jefferson nickel without mint mark in dirty or circulated condition is generally worth around 10 to 25 cents. While that may seem modest, it's still several times more than its original face value, and the coin carries great historical interest. If you find a cleaner example in very fine to extra fine condition, the value can rise to around 50 cents to $1. High-grade uncirculated pieces, especially those with sharp details and full steps, can reach $10 to $20 or more, depending on their eye appeal and condition. Collectors often look for wartime silver nickels from 1942 as well, those with the large mint marks above Monticello, which contain 35% silver. Those are more valuable and can range from $1 to $5 or more, depending on condition. But your coin, being the early copper-nickel issue, represents the original composition and the start of the wartime transition, which makes it a meaningful historical coin in its own way. Sometimes, minor errors and varieties can be found on 1942 nickels, including off-center strikes, die cracks, or doubled lettering. While these are not very common, any noticeable error can increase the value for collectors. Even though your coin shows age, scratches, and some dirt, that doesn't take away from its story. This 1942 Jefferson nickel has witnessed over 8 decades of American history, through war, change, and progress, and it still survives today as a small but powerful reminder of that time. In today's coin market, a 1942 Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel without mint mark in dirty condition with scratches is valued between 10 and 25 cents, while higher grade or certified pieces can sell for $10 to $20, and rare error examples can bring even more.